right here for you on PPR and the Wall to Wall Country Show. Got about 6 minutes after the top of the hour, second hour of the show. So excited to be able to always bring in a special guest during the show. And, one of the other things that's really cool when we have the opportunity to bring somebody back who's been on the show before and get us all caught up about what's new and exciting in their world. Now, a little while ago, we had a gentleman by the name of Richard Lynch on the show, and I'm so excited to have American country music icon, singer, songwriter, chart topper, rubbed elbows with some of the greats out there, classic country, new music. So excited to hear what's going on. Hey, Richard, how the hell are you doing, my friend?
Hey, I'm doing good, Casey. Thanks for having me back on.
I am so excited to have you back. And, I mean, you're just not a man who sits still for any moment in time. And I think we're going to have a very fun and interesting interview because we're going to be touching on some really great stuff. A little bit about what you got going on, some things coming up in 2017 and things of that nature, a little background information from you and stuff. But if people missed the first interview and maybe they're a little unfamiliar of who you are, let's back up for just a second and give them a real quick background synopsis of who Richard Lynch is, where he comes from, and how he ended up on the country world of the artist format and the platform for that. You've got a wide variety. You've got an interesting story. Tell us a story, Richard. I want to hear about it.
Well, I'm a second-generation country music singer, and by that I mean my dad was an incredible singer, entertainer around the Cincinnati, Dayton, Ohio area. I grew up in southwestern Ohio and on a big old farm there, and I was so influenced and so captured by the love of this music. You know, when I get up every morning as a kid, I remember my dad would be making coffee or fixing some breakfast or whatever before he went to work, and on the radio would be this great country music, and then I got a little these people that's on the radio. How cool is that?
Yeah.
At the ripe old age of 8 years old, I got to go to my dad's my first show with my dad and my mom, and he was playing with a guy by the name of Porter Wagner. And here I am. I'm watching this guy on TV, and I'm thinking, man, this guy's with my dad. My dad must be pretty cool. So my dad grabbed me and I had my mom throw me up on the stage with him, and the first song I sang was an old Buck Owens song called I Got a Tiger by the Tail. So there's my first story. And once I played that song and sang that song, and I seen the response of the crowd, I was bit pretty early by the country music bug, you might say.
And you've made quite the
love.
Yeah, you've made quite the job out of it, quite the career out of it as well. I mean, you've definitely, even following in your father's footsteps, but you're on your own. You've rubbed elbows with some greats.
I have, and it's been a great experience, and every day we're very fortunate to hitch our wagon with some of these icons and lifelong country music folks that's been in the business long before my dad. When you get to play music with some of these people that you grew up and you were so influenced by. We just did a show with David Frizzell over in Ireland here, and that was an awesome treat for us to go do that. And we just recorded a brand new song with Ronnie McDowell. Ronnie was a huge country music artist in the 70s, 80s, and early 90s, and he's still that star today. Of course, you don't get the airplay that he did at one time. It's just amazing that I get to do these things that I love, and they actually pay me to show up. Now, how cool is that?
Yeah, we're gonna get back to Ronnie McDowell here in just a minute, but just a few more little things about you, Richard. I think artists get put into categories sometimes, and then they kind of get labeled and they get stuck there, and then that's the kind of music that people are going to expect from them, and they find that they have to follow that type of little path of whatever they've been labeled. But you are unconditionalist. You set your own path. Your kind of style over the years and what you do ranges. So you're not really labeled to just country or Western, or outlaw country or honky tonk. You kind of have dabbled a little bit in all of those different varieties. And that must have been an amazing kind of way to switch those gears and keep those doors open for yourself.
Oh, that's true. And you know what? Like I mentioned earlier, how I was raised. You know, I mean, if you're influenced by all those wonderful artists, and my dad always told me, stay true to what you are. You know, don't try to be something you're not. Some really good advice right there. But you know, I've always loved country music, traditional country music. And that being said, now you can be so diverse with country music. I mean, there's Western swing, there's hard driving honky tonk. There is so much great different varieties of that traditional music that, you know, I've always loved it. I've always been fortunate enough to play it. I've always been around that. And you know, this year we will play over 140 nights this year. So, and, you know, and we have a farm. We got to take care of the farm and all that kind of thing. You know, we raise hay and horses and donkeys. So our life is pretty full, I can tell you that.
Like I said in the very beginning, you are not a man to have, what do they say, grass grow under your feet, because you're going all the time. You're a mover and a shaker for sure. Let's swing back around now. Before we get in to talking about Ronnie McDowell, because I have some exciting news to also bring to my listening audience about Ronnie. Let's talk a little bit about you've got an album out, you've got some new music out there, and you've got some good songs that are out there that are doing quite well for yourself, but you've just released another one, another new song.
Well, I did. I have a national syndicated radio show that I do every Thursday, and they asked me would I write a jingle for it. And I said, sure. And so I wrote the jingle, and my wife, Donna, she says, you know, that's way too good just to be a jingle. So I went ahead, and we recorded a song, and I think it touches a whole lot on, you know, today's, you know, mindset of our country. You know, we're American proud. That's the name of the song that you're referring to.
Right.
There's so many folks out there that want to show respect and want to show their love for our country. So I wrote a song called We're American Proud. And it talks about all the hard-working truck drivers, and it talks about our military men and women, and it talks about our farmers, and, you know, and it gives thanks to the man above. And I think it really resonates with the time we're in and, you know, the transition that we're going through politically. I'm not really a political kind of guy, but I felt like that song needed to be written, and I was proud to do it. And folks like you and a lot of folks are playing it. I'm so thankful for that.
Yeah, you know, and I think, like, you're hitting the nail on the head. We've got a very interesting time right now, and people need to get back to just kind of like, you know, putting the crap aside and remembering who we are and what we are. We're Americans. We live in a wonderful country. We have people who sacrifice for us every single day, whether it is the soldier or the military, or maybe it's the EMTs or the firefighters, or maybe it's the guy running the tractor out there trying to get, you know, enough wheat together to sell at the farmer's market so that bread can be made, or it's just the guy that gets up and puts on his pants every single day and goes to work and does whatever he does. And I think we're losing sight of that a little bit, and people need to kind of reel themselves back in. And it's music like this that I hope can help get those messages across and just get people back to where we need to be, to being proud of who we are and what we are, and stand together rather than this constant fighting that seems to be going on all the time anymore, you know?
I agree 100%, Casey. And, you know, if you're around folks that love that music, you know, country music, it always tells a story. And that's why I was so intrigued and so interested in this country music thing, because country music comes from the heart.
Right.
And if you can connect with a song and hear a song that touches your life or something going on in your life, or if you're a hard-working stiff that don't necessarily get appreciated like you should, and they hear a song like this, the next thing you know, they're inspired, and they seem to be appreciative of what I'm doing. And I hear that often, how many people thank me for that music. Hey, we thought we were forgotten about. I said, oh, no, it's time to get some folks, that hard-working folks, back in the limelight again.
Yeah, I mean, because it takes everybody. I mean, it takes a team effort, you know. It takes, you know, and you can't just have, you know, when the holidays are, you know, still here. Granted, Christmas is past and the holidays are still here, but it's like, you know, it's tough when it's only one time a year that people kind of, kind of are nice to each other and walk around and say hello and Merry Christmas. Unfortunately, it would be great if we could keep that mental attitude of like, hey, everybody's in this together all year long, and remember that it's going to take all of us to keep this country great and keep the world great. And whether you're green, purple, yellow polka dots, it doesn't matter. We're our own enemy, and people need to stop fighting and realize that it's going to take all of us, or we're going to just destroy ourselves. You know what I'm saying?
I do, and I think you just gave me a new idea for my next song. Keep talking.
As long as I get the rights, dude, man. Come on, throw me a little bone here. But that's the fact. We got to remember, it's like, Jesus, we're going to blow our own selves up. I hate even looking at the news anymore. So people really need to be inspired by artists like you who are putting it out there in their face. Listen to the words, for Pete's sake, and remember who we are and what we are, and that we're supposed to be proud of ourselves, and we're supposed to work together, and we're supposed to be this well-oiled machine, not a drunk caterpillar that's got its legs going in 50,000 directions,
Absolutely. That's real well put. And, if we need to be more inclusive and a whole lot less divisive. That just sums it up.
Yeah, absolutely. And that's it. And people need to realize that. And the more we can get that message out there, however that message is happening, that's what needs to get in everybody's face. And they just have to, they say you can lead a horse to water, you can't make it drink. But hopefully if we get enough water in front of these people, maybe somewhere along the line, they'll take that first little drink and realize it's like, hey, man, we're falling apart at the seams. We all need to regroup and get back together. And it's songs like that are inspirational, that if it reaches one person and then it reaches another person and then it reaches that third person, then those people reach out. And, it's the butterfly effect. It's the domino effect. Let's get more people on the same bandwagon rather than against each other.
I love it. I love it. I like the way you talk.
Well, Richard, I think I'm going to stop talking, and I think we're going to take a quick break, and we're going to come back with this song and let people get inspired. How does that sound?
Sounds great. I can't wait.
All right, well, we're going to play this. This is coming up in just a minute. This is Richard Lynch's new single. It's out there. It's a little something called We're American Proud, and we means we all are. And I want everybody to give it a good listen to the words, and reach out and remind people that we need to be American proud. We need to stand together, and stuff like this is just one of those steps of reaching out to those few people. So we're going to take a quick break. Richard, can you hang in there for just a little bit?
Oh, you bet.
Awesome. We're going to be back with more Richard Lynch and his single, We're American Proud, coming up in just a minute, right after the break, right here on Wall to Wall Country. And we're so excited to be back with a little bit from Mr. Richard Lynch. Right there, you heard his tune, his new single that's out there. It's called We're American Proud, recognizing everybody from the truck driver to the military, people who just get up and put their pants on every day and just try to, make ends meet. Remembering that we need to be together on this, being American proud, and get the pride back into America. I think, Richard, that's really what, we need to get out there and remind people that they should be proud of this country and what we do here,
Absolutely, Casey. And, you go to work every day and you take pride in what you do. And, we want to see that whole mindset return back to folks. Let them get have a little skin in the game. If we get a little skin in the game and they get a little pride in what we do, next thing you know, everybody's, they're successful. They're having they're taking care of their family, and a little pride back in America is what this is all about.
Yeah, and that's a good thing. And are you finding people are reacting to it, Richard? Are they coming back and going, you know what, dude, you're right. I'm glad I got the message.
Absolutely. We've been doing a boatload of interviews of this particular song, and some things that I do a lot of these interviews, and I'm thankful for the opportunity to do that. And a gentleman just the other day did an interview with me on this particular song, and it touches people differently. Everybody hears a song and it affects them differently, but this particular gentleman had, I think 45 or 50 syndicated stations, and when he heard the song, he asked me something that kind of stuck with me. He said, Richard, I love your song. He said, do you mind if I pray with you on the radio? And then that really floored me because I'd never been asked that before. And, it just touches people, and I think maybe we're on the right track with connecting with our folks and with our Maker, and I just hope that we're on the right track.
Yeah, I am sure you are. And, you know, what the problem is, or the challenge is, not necessarily the problem, but the challenge is going to be is, you know, we got to get more and more of those messages out there, and you got to keep presenting that message to people and reminding people and stuff. And sometimes it takes a while because humans are generally thick-headed, and, you know, you got to hit them over the head with a baseball bat sometimes. And, you know, hopefully somewhere along the line, you know, it'll actually sink in and things will turn itself around. I'm looking forward to 2017, though. I got a good feeling about this coming year, and we've had a rough one this last year, especially with the loss of so many great artists, and it just doesn't seem to want to stop. And, you know, 2017's, you know, we have to make 2017 better. We've got to get that mindset that it's going to be better, and we're going to work together, and we're going to get that pride back in America. And, you know, come hell or high water, we're responsible for ourselves. So let's do it. Let's just get her done, right?
I love it. I couldn't have said it better myself. Thank you. I love it.
We've got some more things to talk about, though. I mean, we got that tune out there, and we want to make sure that people listen to that. But you've got some other stuff going on. Let's take a step back. We were talking a little something about Ronnie McDowell. I don't even know where to start with this, but why don't you go ahead and give us a little bit of a wink, wink, nudge, nudge of what you got going on with that amazing man.
Well, this gentleman I've always loved his music, and when I got to meet him and record with him and see how genuine he is, I just loved him even more. What you're referring to is we have started a foundation, me and my wife, called LoveTattooFoundation.org. And if you go there and you go online, you'll see that this particular song that we have wrote called Love Tattoo, my friend Ronnie McDowell, and I'm proud to say I can call him my friend now, has recorded that with me, and it's going to be released to radio the 21st of January. So we're so excited that we're going to do our debut together in Nashville. We're going to play the 21st in Nashville at the Nashville Palace, and then that evening we'll be doing the Midnight Jamboree on WSM Radio that evening with the Ernest Tubb Midnight Jamboree at that evening. So it's
nice.
So much fun, so much excitement going on. And the best thing about it is that all the proceeds that are generated from the sale of this particular CD is going to go to our men and women that serve our great country, the folks that, they get up and sometimes they aren't necessarily appreciated as much as they should be. And we have found a place up in Michigan called the Whirlwind Lodge that we kind of are main sponsor for all the funds. And what that is a 600-acre facility where our men and women can go for a little rest and relaxation. They can bring their dog with them if they want to. If they can bring their spouse, they can bring their family. And there is, some psychological folks up there who can help them with them, doctors who want to help them with that. And if they have special needs, there's special doctors up there. But it's mainly designed for a place for them to get away from their everyday grinding life and, kind of reflect and have a place for them to go. I'm really proud that I've hitched our wagon to the Whirlwind Lodge as a recipient of the funds from the Love Tattoo Foundation. So a lot of things going on there, and we just couldn't be more proud of our men and women of our military. It's just a little way of us to give them back a little bit.
You know, and that's cool that they have the opportunity to reset. I mean, in everyone's life, every once in a while, you just got to step back, step away, call it vacation, call it a day off, call it, whatever you want. And, it's important. It's so, 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 so important that people take that, especially those, with high stress situations. And, oh my gosh, those military people, you want to talk high stress. Whew, You know what I'm saying? And, and then they have these issues when they come back, and unfortunately some of them fall by the wayside, which is a horrible, horrible, horrible situation. But if they can... Go ahead.
I was going to touch base on that. I understand there's 18 to 22 suicides a day, and that's just unacceptable. So if we can do something for somebody to help our men and women of the military, that where we can kind of maybe save one or two or however it takes to get involved in that. That's why we really want to focus on this, and let them have a place and let them know that. So anybody that's listening to this right now, if you know of a soldier, man or woman, that you feel like they're having some stress right now, they just let them know that there's a place out there for them, and they'd be more than welcome, and they'd be in an environment where they can relax and they don't have to feel stressed, and they can talk to a doctor or a physician if they need to. So just let them know that there's a place out there for them right now. We don't need no more of this unnecessary suicides from our men and women.
Right. So a little bit more information. How can someone reach out if they are looking for information, whether it's a military person themselves or maybe a friend or a family member who's trying to find out more information? How do they get that, Richard?
Well, just go to lovetattoofoundation.org, and you can see where the contact information is, where all the folks that are making contributions. And if you decide to make a contribution, you can do it. It's tax deductible. But it's something that's necessary out there that needs to be done. And the song came to me and in the form of a poem, and I was asked to put music to it, and then therefore I did. And it's been well received around the country, and a lot of our military bases around the world have been playing it. And the biggest part about it is the fact that we got to re-record it recently with Ronnie McDowell and hitch our wagon with him. And I found out something really cool about Ronnie. I've always loved his music, but I found out that he did 3 tours of duty in Vietnam. And for him to sing that song with me with such heartfelt conviction and passion, when you hear the song, folks, you'll know exactly what I'm talking about. You couldn't have asked for a better duet partner on this particular song. And like I say, all the proceeds are for a very worthwhile cause.
And they're going to be able to hear this song coming up in January? It's going to be out there for folks to get their paws on it?
You bet. The 21st of January, if you go to richardlynchband.com, you can pull up all the information, and it will show all the different sites and websites and all the different things it's doing. But you'll go right to it, and you'll see what's going on. If folks are in Nashville, that can be part of the live show that night. Okay. And if they just want to tune in, via the satellite or via the internet, that's something that they can do also. But just for the show of some folks who are military men and women, I think we need to unite around them and let them know that there's a lot of folks that love them and appreciate them and want them to do well.
Yeah, and get back on track and know that they're not alone. I think that's part of the biggest challenge is they feel like either they've been abandoned or they've been forgotten, or they're just like trying to deal with things on their own and not sharing the pain that they have, or not sharing the stress that they have. And I think that's a big thing for people, is to be able to break down and ask for help.
That a lot of them have that pride. And if sometimes pride's a good thing. I never want to deprive anybody of pride, but if you don't ask for help or something from some time to time, that can be a detriment to you. So that's where folks like me and you and our listeners can kind of help in that direction. They may see somebody that they know somebody that needs a little bit of help, and a little suggestion, maybe a little pat on the back. Hey, buddy, I got somebody who wants you to call. So I think it would help people. That's what we're all about.
Yeah, and that's a neat organization, that lovetattoofoundation.org. Check that out, or you can go to the richardlynchband.com website and get all the detailed information. And, I'm so excited because it's interesting that we're talking about Ronnie McDowell, because he's scheduled to actually be on my show coming up on January 11th. And I know that was something he also wanted to talk about. So we're going to actually get a little more emphasis on this and talk about this kind of same topic in just a few weeks when Ronnie's on the show as well, and reiterate the whole Love Tattoo Foundation and the music and the song and the show on the 21st. So we'll really drive it home with our listening audience here at Penn Speak Radio, with Ronnie being on the show on January 11th as well.
That's so cool. Casey, if it wasn't for folks like you that help spread the word and get our music out there and do these wonderful things, we can try all we want, but we sure appreciate you guys' effort too. So thank you from the bottom of our heart.
No, that's, I always say this to artists, we thank you guys too. I mean, it's a kind of a two-way street, Richard. If you guys didn't make the music, I wouldn't have a job. So
I love it.
The DJs rely on the artists, and the artists rely on the DJ. So it's not a one-way street. It's a team effort. That's the theme for today.
I love it. I love
team.
it.
If it wasn't for music, I wouldn't have a job. So unless I just wanted to do talk radio, I could do that, but it'd get boring after a while. So anyway, so let's talk a little bit more about some of your other music, some of your other projects that you have out there. You've got this album out there that's got some great music on it. Let's talk a little bit about that and remind people about this album and some of your other new music that you have out there that's doing quite well.
Well, the new album that you're referring to is called A Better Place, and it's such a diverse album that, when we recorded the song, I'll go back up just a little bit. Before I recorded the song, I listened to just virtually hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of songs that was submitted to me, and we finally narrowed down the 12 that made it on the CD. I didn't write any of this music on the current CD, but we became friends with our good producer, Mr. Billy Yates, and I think he wrote 7 or 8 of the songs on this album, and he produced it for me. And it's been such a well-received and a diverse album all around the world, and it's made people connect with the fact that, there's real traditional country music out there that's still being recorded, still being played, and for the folks that are looking for that direction, sometimes you can kind of get a little frustrated and say, where did it all go to? Well, the search is over. Just go to richardlynchband.com, and you will see traditional, brand-new country music that has been really successful for us. As a matter of fact, the title cut was so successful this year, it was on an independent traditional country chart called Roots Music for 33 weeks in a row this year. So we're really proud of that.
Congratulations on that. That's awesome. That's awesome.
Yeah, and like I say, there's lots of folks out there that are looking for that familiar sound, that music that they grew up with, that music that they still love. And you don't necessarily have to have an old song that's been 20 or 30 or 50 years old. There's myself and other folks that are still recording that out there. So it gives some folks some hope that they can still find that music. And to tell you the truth, I think a lot of the industry is starting to see a little bit of that direction, and with any luck at all, maybe we'll get some more traditional sound in today's country music.
So this title, A Better Place, it's the title of the album. It's also one of the songs. Tell us a little bit about the song, and I think what we'll do is we'll throw it out there for the listening audience to give them that traditional sound back for a minute.
Well, what it is, it's a song that, we talked earlier about country music. It talks about good times, happy times, sad times. It talks about everyday life, everything you experience in life. And this particular song, it talks about, the guy that was absolutely in love with this gal, and I guess she was interested in other folks. And I'll let the folks listen to the words to finish up the story. I don't want to ruin anything, but the guy realizes what's happened, and then the story kind of just goes a different direction, probably a direction you wouldn't expect.
Richard Lynch, A Better Place, for you right here on Penn's Peak Radio, and that's the title track as well as the name of his brand new album that's out there. Got 12 tracks of music on it. Lots of great soulful stuff going on in that song. Plus, I think it kind of carries the shock factor just a little bit. I mean, okay, it's a sad song. Boy meets girl. They break up. They don't get along or whatever. Usually, one goes crawling off with its tails between its legs. But, hey, man, you're dead. You're dead in the first 2 lyrics of the song, man.
Well, it's a powerful song, and it, a lot of folks, it makes people think.
Yeah.
And, I'm a firm believer in, if you're going to sing and you're going to play this music, let's get the real passion. Let's get some emotion involved in here. Let's let that be heard and let that emotion resonate across this music. And, people ask me, say, wow, where did that song come from? And then I tell them that Billy Yates wrote the particular song there, and he has had so many songs recorded over the years. And somebody said to me, wow, I think I could have heard George Jones sang that song. And that's the ultimate flattery right there when I hear something like that there. I'm just so appreciative that, I can be around that genre and be compared to somebody like George Jones. I love it,
Yeah. A couple of artists come to mind that, just could, do as good of a job as you did on that. I mean, that's an amazing song, Richard. And it does, it kind of also, if you really want to kind of think about it, my husband and I talk about this all the time. You never know when your last day is going to happen in today's society. I mean, it could be anything from, an accident. It could be a disease. It could be this or that. It could get shot in the local Walmart, for crying out loud. It's a crazy world. It's a crazy world out there. And all your songs are bringing kind of like the same message that people really need to stop and think and reevaluate and bring home what's really, really important and stop all the crap and, be proud in what you do and reach out for the help if you need it, and remember that a day could go by, and the person that you care about and you love or whatever, say you love them every single day, because tomorrow they might not be here. So
that's well put, very well said.
And it's just a really kind of a little wake-up call. I love the fact that your music, it's great music, songs, some of it's kind of upbeat, toe-tapping or sentimental or whatever, but they're also wake-up calls, and there are things that people need to pay attention to. And, again, getting those messages out there and getting people to understand and listen to the words, like you said, really listen to the words, catch the drift, get the message, knock, knock, who's home, listen to what's going on here, and take it to heart, and then pass it on, get more people involved in listening to these messages. And I think one way to do it is music, Richard. I really do.
Well, music is a strong entity, and it can be used for a lot of good purposes. It can kind of direct people and, affect people, and hopefully my music is a direction to where we can help people and maybe get inspired in the right direction anyhow. Well,
I sure as heck hope so. I mean, you've got some good stuff. You got some great music on that CD as well. It's called A Better Place. Now, how can people get their hands on your music that's out there? Now, we know your Love Tattoo song won't be available until January 21st, but, A Better Place and We're American Proud and some of that other stuff you have going on that album, where can they find it, Richard?
Just go to richardlynchband.com, and you spell Lynch, L-Y-N-C-H, richardlynchband.com, and you will see all the various websites, all the places we're playing around the country. You can get the music from that website, and it's been a really big tool for the folks that are looking for that traditional sound again. It's helped us immensely, and we've met a lot of wonderful people out there by playing music. And for me, there's not a better thing to do than for someone to come to me and come to our show and spend that hard-earned money to come to see us. And I love shaking their hand, hugging their neck, getting to know them for just a few minutes, and just being around that folks and that love that traditional sound, and just buy our music and support what we do, because if it wasn't for them folks, we might be looking for something else to be doing.
Yeah.
You know what I mean, don't you?
Absolutely. What about the social medias? Peachy, are you a social media, the Facebook, the Twitters? Are you on that kind of stuff? Can people reach out to you that way?
Absolutely. My wife and our publicist out of Nashville, they take care of all that business end of things. I'm mainly an old farm boy, so if you wonder why I'm not doing it, it's because it doesn't have guitar strings on it or a John Deere steering wheel. So I'm kind of limited on this.
Nice.
On the social stuff, So thank goodness I've got help out there on that end of things.
But if there's people who are reaching out and asking questions, they do get to you at some sort of venue, whether it's your wife, and especially if people are, reaching out about the music and the messages in your songs.
Oh yes, absolutely. That's really a satisfying thing to be able to hear people say, "Hey, that really connected with me, or it touched me." And I hear stories like that often. How I've sang a song and people come up to me and say, I heard this and that made me think this and made me think that, and brought back good memories. And so that's worth a whole lot to me.
Yeah, really reaching and touching people, and and that's the beginning. That's the thing is getting them to listen and recognize what's being said, and and then being so powerful enough that they act on it. That's the kicker. That's the hard part, is getting them to pass that on to the next person down the line. Paying it forward is the saying, and just remembering and taking those types of messages in their day-to-day life. And it doesn't have to be an announcement. It doesn't have to be a big, oh, well, I'm going to do this. It's just sometimes it's just some of the simplest things in the world. Saying hi to someone, holding a door open, like you said, patting them on the back, telling them they did a good job. Sometimes it's all it takes for somebody to go, wow, thanks. That just made me feel 1,000 times better. And that's got to happen.
I think you're so right there, so right. And people appreciate little things like that there. And even if they don't tell you thank you, I think when they walk away and they say, wow, I don't remember the last time somebody held the door open for me. So
Yeah. So we need to...
It's really cool.
We're going to take these messages in your songs, Richard, and we're going to get them out there, and we're going to hopefully shift the mental attitude of, oh, I'm all out for myself. And remember that we're all here in this boat together, and we got to paddle together, or we're just going to be spinning in circles for eternity here. So we really need to... we need to work on it. And I think, you getting these messages and this music and reminding people to be proud of themselves and you work together and all that kind of stuff. And remember, life is short. It can end at any single moment, and you got to make the best of what you got. So
true. So very true.
Richard, I got to tell you, if you're ever up in the area, and I mentioned this the last time you were on the show, Penn Speak Radio doors are always open. At some point, we'd either love to come and have you perform at the venue or at least swing by the station here. It's always a treat and a pleasure to talk to you. Can you give us a little bit more of a wink, wink, nudge, nudge of what's going to be happening in 2017 past the release of Love Tattoo, a song and music and your work with Ronnie McDowell?
Well, I can. I'm so excited. We just finished recording our brand new album, and I have that in the can. By saying I just finished it, it's just that my part is done. Now all the hard work goes in. All the engineers, all the folks that do their end of things that make everybody sound good. And then we have the background vocals that's being recorded as we speak. And so it's a brand new album out there, and you're the first person that's going to hear this, Casey. It's called Mending Fences. So kind of on the same wavelength, it's kind of keeping that same storyline going. Let's keep this going.
Right. And the more, like you said, the more you get it out there and in people's faces, somewhere along the line, it's going to start reaching people, and then hopefully that particular epidemic will continue in a good way.
Well, if it helps one person, I'm tickled. So I think we'll just keep shooting for that, just one at a time, and get our traditional music out there. And you said it earlier. I always on my own path. I've always loved what we're doing, and so far it's worked out for me. And let's just keep doing what I do and love what you do. And my dad gave me a good advice many years ago. Be good at what you do and know what not to do. So sometimes an artist will sing a song or be around something that they probably shouldn't do. I'm pretty fortunate that I've learned that I can't do everything that comes in front of me. So, and as much as I love Vince Gill, I surely can't sing like Vince Gill. So just do what you do well. That's what I'm going to keep doing.
That's awesome. When can we expect Mending Fences to be out there? Do you got a projected kind of time of the year of 2017?
Well, our producers are thinking probably mid-March.
Oh, good.
1st of April. And It's really, really dynamic songs. There's so much good diversity in this new album. And just give you a little bit of insight there. There's a song on this particular album that George Strait had on hold for over a year to put on his current album. It got down to the 13th song on his 12th song album, and it didn't make it to the final 12. And so I guess what I'm trying to tell you is this particular song is so amazingly good, and I'm so fortunate to have it on our album right now. So that's the kind of caliber of music's on here. If it's good enough for George, it's good enough for me.
There you go. No doubt. Well, listen, maybe we'll have to have you back, maybe in April and when you're launching this new music and get some of that out there as well and continue getting those messages out there. Mending Fences obviously sets a precedence for the album that it's going to continue doing what you're doing, which is getting those great inspirational messages and affecting that one person at a time. And that's what you do the best, Richard. And I'd be looking forward to, having you back on the show in the spring and finding out more about the album Mending Fences to be released at that time frame.
Well, Casey, thank you to all you do, for all you do, and for all your listeners out there. Thank you so much for letting me be a part of your show. It's always an honor to be with you, dear.
Well, I appreciate it. We're going to play another tune at the end of the show to remind people to listen in on Sunday if they've missed the interview or missed some of your music. We'll re-air this entire show on Sunday morning at 8 a.m. Eastern Time with the interview in the second hour. We're going to throw a tune out there. You wanted me to play She's Got Me Drinking Again.
If that ain't country music, I don't know what is.
Yeah, man. Well, we'll play that one in honor of you, Richard, and remind everybody to catch the interview if they missed it today. But I have to say, congratulations with everything you're doing. I wish you the best of luck. Tell Ronnie I said hi. I'm looking forward to chatting with him in January. And keep us in mind when you got something new and exciting going on. You want to tell us a little bit more about Mending Fences when it's all put together. We'd love to hear from you.
Hey, thank you all, and we'll see you soon.